Welcome all to Off the Cuff, and today I have two storytellers here with me. Both are South Asian, Indian, brown women based in the Bay Area and are independent filmmakers. Welcome Saila Kariat,
Kariat.
and Rashmi Rustagi to Off the Cuff.
Thank you. Thank you. Delighted to be here.
My pleasure. A little bit about Saila. She's a filmmaker, writer, and entrepreneur whose career began in engineering and construction before she fully embraced her passion for storytelling. After earning a PhD in electrical engineering, she worked at IBM. She directed several short films before writing, directing, and co producing her first feature film, The Valley, which I saw recently. Amazing. And it's available on Amazon and other online platforms. Her recent film is Jesus Land. She produced and directed the feature adaptation. It is currently on the festival circuit. Having grown up in India, Canada, and the United States, Saila was shaped by a rich mix of cultures, values, and perspectives. So, warm welcome.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to talking to both of you. And Rashmi Rustagi, she's been on my show quite a few times and a very known, face, I'll say, around the Bay Area. Born and raised in India, Rashmi Rustagi discovered her passion for storytelling early through radio plays and theatre. She has since appeared in blockbuster films like The Avengers and India's Sweets and Spices. That's also on Amazon?
On Netflix now.
Netflix these days. And on acclaimed TV shows including Grey's Anatomy, Atypical, and Never Have I Ever. Her role in Bienvenidos gained recognition when the film was shortlisted for Best Live Action Shot at the 2024 Academy Awards. In 2020, Rashmi wrote and produced and acted in the award-winning short film Unborn, an exploration of female feticide, now streaming on Amazon Prime again. Most recently, she completed the feature film Designed by Preeti. The movie is now available to rent on the movie website designedbypreetimovie.com. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So you both are very accomplished, filmmakers here. And before we go, about the highs and lows of independent filmmaking, tell us about your recent ventures. Saila, you can start.
So, Jesus Land is based on a memoir, which is a New York Times bestseller.
Okay.
The way I struck upon this story is I am a member of the Writers Grotto, and I met the author, and I thought, oh, let me pick up her book. And it was just so riveting, I couldn't put it down. And although it's a very mainstream story, it's about a white girl and a black boy, 16-year-old, who grew up in rural Indiana. And they face, during the 80s, they face a lot of discrimination, he faces mainly, because of his race, basically. And their household is a very strict reformist, traditional. I mean, you can't dance, you can't sing, you can't, there's all these rules and regulations. And when they start to rebel, they're sent off to a reform school in the Dominican Republic. So I could totally relate to the character of David, who is the black boy, because I grew up in that era, and I stuck out like a sore thumb, like he does. I was the only Indian in my school, when I was in Canada, and, there was a lot of discrimination and racism. So I totally related to him. And I could relate to the story of being the traditional kind of household, whereas the outside, what's going on in society is totally different.
Yes.
So anyway, that's how the story resonated with me, and I thought this is a film. I could see the film. I could see the scenes as I was reading the book. So I adapted the book. I wrote the screenplay. It took me a couple of years, and then I had to raise the money, direct the movie, produce. Production is something I do because I have to, honestly. It's not my passion. I love to write and direct, and if I could just do that, I would do it. But as, Rashmi can tell you, for these independent projects, you have to raise the money, and that's the role of a producer, one of the primary roles. So
and
that's
the trailer is on YouTube.
The trailer is on YouTube, and I'm looking for a festival premiere right now.
Great. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Rashmi, a little bit about Design by Preeti.
Yeah, Designed by Preeti came to me, the story. I had been journaling about these two friends who live in the Bay Area, and upper middle class Indian women, middle-aged Indian women who were stuck in abusive marriages and were not leaving those marriages, in spite of what they were tolerating, and because of the everything community pressures and all the reasons that I list in the movie. So then I ended up writing this script, and while I was writing the script during the pandemic, I found out about a close relative who was going through partner abuse, and so the movie is really does not dwell as much on the abuse as it talks about this woman's journey from the abuse to empowering herself and how she gets out of it, and all the cultural and social roadblocks that she faces along the way. The movie has done very well on the festival circuit, and it's available, and you've seen it.
Yeah, I liked it.
And it's available to rent online. I'm kind of exploring this self distribution idea, which a lot of independent filmmakers are doing now because they don't make money in their films. When the middleman is involved, the middleman ends up, which Saila has some experience with, ends up keeping most of the money. So I'm exploring that, and I call this a C2C, where it's creator to consumer model that I'm exploring. So,
I know you're trying that. Yeah. So like I already said, the movie is available for rent at the website, right?
Yes.
The website?
Designedbypreetimovie.com.
Movie.com, and I've seen it. It's wonderful. It's very uplifting. Like you're saying, it doesn't dwell just on the act of abuse. It dwells on what happens the next, and the resilience of the survivor, I'll say, and it's beautifully told. And now coming on to you both, we were just talking, Saila, you said there are barely any women in this kind of profession. On top of that, you are South Asian Indian women. So do you feel obligated or inclined to tell stories that are just for the Indian diaspora? I know Rashmi has made films which, do take up issues prevalent in Indian diaspora, but your film Jesus Land is very different. It is about a completely different culture.
Right.
So a little bit about that. How do you pick your subjects?
I think with the Valley, I focused on the Indian diaspora. And when I went to producers, when I first went, their first question was, what's with all these Indian people? Make everybody white. I mean, I'm telling you, somebody told me, those were his exact words. So at the time, I was very adamant. I wanted to tell the Indian story. Literally, I could have taken the story and made everybody American and changed some things. Obviously the clothing and the food and a few other things. It would have been relevant.
Right.
But I thought that's the world I know. So let me. And I thought the problems depicted in the Valley with the anxiety, depression amongst the high pressure, expectations of the parents. Are more relevant for the Indian American.
Right.
So this story, Jesus Land, I thought, let me try to be more mainstream American.
Yes.
And it's interesting. I think that the reception you get, the acceptance as an Indian American woman director, it's the hurdle is larger if you're telling a white story.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well,
I feel like the people are more reluctant to accept you and welcome you.
What do you know about our, they're always some.
And the thing is, we're all human beings at the end of the day. And I had the book, which was a memoir. So from the memoir and talking to the author, I know the author very well. I learned so much. I know that world. Yeah. It's not that and they're brilliant. Like, for example, Chloe Zhao made Hamnet. I mean, that takes place in 1800s, Edwardian era, and she did a beautiful job with it. So I don't think we should be pigeonholed into just telling a specific type of story.
But for me, I'm an actor primarily, and then I became a producer and writer by necessity. For me, because I am South Asian, this is who I play. I feel like representation of our community and to get a seat at the table, I feel not obligated is not the right word. I feel charged and I feel excited about telling South Asian stories because also I act in my films.
Yeah.
In
So it works well.
in Unborn, I had a small role, but here I'm the lead, and so I want to tell the story through the South Asian lens. Now that doesn't mean that I'm never ever going to tell another story,
Yes.
but of a different ethnicity. But right now, that's what I do. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
In the end, you're telling human stories.
Oh,
Exactly.
absolutely.
You know,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
tugs your heart and your imagination, I'm sure, and you want to put it out.
Right.
Yeah, domestic
know,
violence, interracial romance, all of that is very cross-cultural. So,
Absolutely. It happens everywhere.
It happens to every class, every,
Absolutely.
and
everywhere.
that's why Rashmi's film is so important.
So that's why I'm saying both your films, I'll say, even The Valley raises such pertinent questions on, the model minority myth,
Yes.
which we all, go through.
Yes.
Right.
And
I agree.
Right.
that was incredible, I have to say. And mental health is such a huge issue in our community.
Yeah, the model minority myth, so many people who have lived in America for like 50 years, one of my very close relatives, domestic violence in the Indian community? No. I mean, I had to literally send him to the Maitri website to say, look, I'm not making this up.
Right.
No,
Yes,
people
it
are living in their own bubble, I
That's
don't know,
right.
which is true. And now talking about making films, being an independent filmmaker based in the Bay Area, what are your challenges? And we can start with the challenges first, and then.
I mean, there's the creative challenge. I mean, creatively, it's a very difficult task to write a feature, direct a feature. So there are obviously producing. I mean, is itself. I mean, cast. There's so many details. I mean, the enormity of the task. My husband used to be, he's done startup companies in high tech, and he used to be dumbfounded by the amount of work I was doing. He said, I get up in the morning, I start working, I go to bed at night, I'm still working.
Yeah,
and he's like, my God, this is so much work. And I said, yes, because you're wearing so many hats. And so that's one obstacle.
Yeah.
But the big obstacle is the financing.
Yeah.
People do not, especially the Indian diaspora, know, okay, this is high risk. Probably the reward is not huge. And they do not want to finance these films.
ROI is not there, yeah.
Well, and in the Bay Area, there is that community as opposed to Hollywood. Because I lived in LA off and on, pursuing my acting career. The community, the congeniality, is not there for a filmmaker. And people, you have to educate people to say, oh, you're a filmmaker. What are you doing in here? Go to LA,
Right.
or go to New York.
There is that too.
So for first you have to kind of explain yourself. So we're kind of trying to establish ourselves as filmmakers in the Bay Area, not filmmakers, period,
Yes,
but
in the
filmmakers
Bay Area
in the Bay
itself
Area.
is a huge component.
It's a huge component, and the funding. Sure, people invest in startups, but that's just as risky as
Exactly.
an
How many
independent
startups,
film.
go
Fail,
public
right.
or even reach a certain.
But then, in my case, I'm fiscally sponsored.
Yes.
So when people give money, they get a tax deduction.
Right.
And yet I have not had the funding luck or the support from the community, especially the South Asian women, strong, wealthy South Asian entrepreneurs that live they don't see this. There'll be a time, I'm sure, down the road where they'll see investing in a film as an adventure, as an obligation, as us getting a seat at the table, us getting representation in Hollywood. All of those things have to come together in their minds.
So with Jesus Land, I have a fiscal sponsor.
Okay.
And again, it's a tax deduction, and there are also benefits which people may not be. I mean, obviously you have to talk to your accountant, but when you have a fiscal sponsor and you make a donation, if you donate stock, the basis of the stock, the appreciation, you have to pay tax on it.
Yes.
But you get the tax deduction of the current market value. And obviously you have to talk to your accountant about these things. So there is a huge benefit to donating stock to a film.
even soft equity. There was a lady who donated her hotel for my actors to stay, my cast and crew to stay.
Okay.
And so she got whatever the value of that donation was, she got a tax deduction on that. So people have to realize that they can do soft equity donations as well.
Also.
Yeah,
I think it's a great idea just before the tax period, and you need to donate somewhere. This is a great way to go.
Yeah.
And
support the arts.
and support the arts because it is not easy, especially in today's environment, to do what these women are doing. They've not chosen the easy road, and at least support or look into their work and give them a chance, I'll say.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
because you are doing major work for major organizations here who are into education in India or poverty and everything. So here also, it's very important for Indian diaspora to represent. That's what I'll say. But talking about the challenges, what are the benefits also of, if there are any?
No. There are benefits.
Okay,
I mean,
let's hear that.
It's incredible to see something that just was an idea in your head,
Okay.
and then see it come to fruition on paper, and then see it on the screen.
I
mean,
can
there's
believe
no there are no words to describe how magical that feels.
And Bay Area was very supportive in terms of, like I said, people opening up their homes, letting me use their homes, restaurants, bars, letting me use their facility. In the Bay Area, you don't really yet have to get permits to shoot.
Oh,
So
okay.
so shooting is much easier.
Here.
Filming in the Bay Area is much easier. People are nicer, kinder, friendlier. I
mean, for the Valley, I actually had to film in this mansion.
Oh, okay.
So I filmed in a mansion in Los Altos Hills,
Okay.
which was like 8,000 square feet, and she gave me free reign of the house for 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I had 32
That's
crew.
good. Who will do that in LA or
Right.
wherever?
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So, talking about traction for your films, like you were saying, okay, you made this your new movie, Jesus Land, and how do you get traction for such a movie? Because first of all, it's not nothing to do with the South Asian Indian diaspora. Maybe Rashmi might have a better chance in even talking about it, in the South Asian community. So how do you generate that?
So it's an interesting conundrum because basically there are all these South Asian film festivals, which I got into for the Valley. In fact, I won Best Feature Film 4 times in the DC South Asian Film Festival,
Okay.
amongst others. But anyway, it's you have that whole slew of film festivals that are open to you with South Asian film. With Jesus Land, I'm going to the mainstream film festivals,
Yeah, because-
which are more competitive because there are far more, like Sundance had 16,000 entries this
Right.
year.
Wow.
So,
And you
there's...
don't even get into Sundance from the regular submission. So
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, it's a hugely political process.
Okay.
But yeah, so you're competing with a lot more films in the mainstream, and you are not, I don't know if there's some amount of discrimination involved there. I mean, that's impossible to tell.
Yeah.
You never know. You can't tell, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know the exact process they're following.
Yeah. So do you think sometimes, why am I making a feature film? Why not a short film? Because, that requires less time and less resources.
Well, because then the short film really has much less of a lifespan. And if you're trying to tell a comprehensive, decent story,
Okay.
short films, I made several short films, and you were left wanting for more. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
There is maybe a small chance of making any money on a feature film. On a short film is zero chance.
Yeah,
of
that's
making
true.
any money.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not, but and it's a different form of storytelling.
It is very
It's
different.
like writing a novel versus writing a short story.
Yeah.
It's very different
Very
in terms
condensed.
of what
Yeah.
you can achieve with it. And, a
But
novel
I've
is...
seen some very powerful short stories.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, sometimes 3 hours of a feature film doesn't do it for you.
Yeah.
Just those 3 minutes.
Yes.
can really tell the
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's
a very punching storyline.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
And really, and I don't know, maybe my span of attention is
I mean, you really struck upon a very interesting point, though, because
Mm-hmm.
the whole audience reaction is changing.
It is
people
changing.
people do not want to sit for 2 hours to watch a
Yes.
movie.
Vertical, there's the whole vertical movement.
Coming to the platforms, do you think all these OTT platforms online, have they benefited you as independent filmmakers, or do you think that it's taking away from your?
Well, OTT, any streamer, any platform
Yeah.
keeps the lion's share of the money.
Okay.
So, but sure, they have a wider base.
Okay.
So, and especially films like, platforms like Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix has such a wide base, reaches so many people, especially South Asians who are subscribers of Netflix. But Netflix pays the filmmaker such a small amount.
They pay the filmmaker very little.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
You're just getting the visibility, I guess.
But
Yeah, and they know that, and therefore
know
they
that, so
can.
they're taking advantage
Exactly.
of it fully, I'll say.
But I guess it's your goal. What is your goal? I think
Yes.
my goal is to have as wide an audience as I can have.
Okay.
And I don't think that this is a great money maker. I mean, I don't. So
exactly.
that's not really. For example, I have a lot of friends who are documentary filmmakers, and they get their stuff on PBS, and PBS pays very little,
Yeah.
but they have millions of viewers for
Yeah.
their documentary, and that's what they want. So.
Yeah.
You nailed it actually here, because I think when you're getting into a profession like that, you know what you are, up for. So I'm sure money, if it comes, it's wonderful. But I'm sure like your vision and purpose is not about really, making money. It's about maybe changing mindsets here and there, and maybe impacting certain lives. You never know, because I truly believe that films better society, and somewhere, or even if one person is impacted by it, why not?
Oh, for sure, for sure. But however, if I don't make money from this film, and if I don't find a financier for the next film,
It is
I can't make
difficult.
my next film, which is
That's-
going to be
yeah.
better than this one.
So that is the real conundrum, right? It's the
I don't want to stop
uncomfortable.
here.
It's the uncomfortable relationship between commerce and art.
Yeah.
And it's been there for centuries, but it's getting worse and worse in some ways because
Yeah.
commerce has become so much more profitable, and art has become less profitable. So the dichotomy has grown.
I believe, and you are doing what you want to do, and you are showing what you want to show. The thing is, your creativity is not being mixed or kind of I'll say contaminated by the market.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
very important. टाइम हो रहा है, मैं देख रही हूँ. जाते जाते एक चीज ही पूछूंगी, your favorite cinema experience.
My favorite cinema. I mean, I got into filmmaking because of Satyajit.
Oh, Satyajit.
And I saw his films when I was like 10 years old and fell in love. And that's what made me want to make films. So I would say I would go back to his films.
Oh, nice.
Wow. So for me, every time somebody asks me about the film that made the most impression
Yes,
on me
yeah.
was Sophie's Choice.
Oh,
And that film made so much impression on me. I had just recently arrived in America, and I saw this movie, and I knew very little about what had happened, the Holocaust, and the whole Auschwitz thing, and so there was such a learning experience for me, and I dwelled on that for years and months. And even now, if I have to do a crying scene in any film or on stage,
You think about that.
I think about that movie. So
Yeah, that is a heart-wrenching
I'm
movie.
sure, exactly. So thank you for coming
Thank
on
you.
Off the Cuff
Thank you
and
so
talking
much.
about your highs and lows. I'll say, listeners, take care and be well. Bye for now.
thank you.